Welcome to my opinions about the Gran Turismo Sport Closed Beta 1.08 update. To begin with, y'all already saw they haven't fixed the PD logic of sowing random orders. They don't start in random orders, but still they sow it, which I'm sure still makes quite a lot of people mad and confused. But that's not really what I'm going to go in today, because I've mentioned that countless times and they've done absolutely nothing about it. What I am going to go into is the main stuff that the update brought, which is tire wear, fuel consumption, and mechanical damage. To start off, I'll start off with the middle point of that, because it's sort of the least important point of that as far as I can tell, is the fuel consumption. I guess about the only way you're going to use this any different is maybe when you're practicing. You can go into the pits, maybe eventually change your tires. I don't think they have that yet, or at least what I've seen, they don't, where you can actually go in the pits and get your tire changed. But the only way that I'm seeing fuel consumption being important is in practice. You can run with a lighter car with less fuel, because in a race, the fuel consumption doesn't matter. So that's definitely the least important of all the things. But now to the two important things, both of about equal importance, because they both have a lot of importance. They changed the racing completely, pretty much. And the first point I'll make is about the tire wear, because it's gradually happening as this race goes on. For the tire wear, it's definitely on fast or super fast or whatever you would call it if it was 6. Which I ain't necessarily saying if that's a good or bad thing, I'm just saying that that's how it is. Street car wears its tires to about halfway, and I don't even think this race would be much over 10 miles. And that's not realistic, but I'll give it a pass for that, because I think they're just trying to test out their system and see how people like it and what to tweak and all that. So even though it isn't really realistic tire wear in the fact of how quickly it does, it still tested out their system good enough to where I guess they can get feedback from people in general. Do I like it? Yes, in the sense of it works, and it definitely adds different stuff to the game, but I'm not exactly the best at it. I've never really been all that good about conserving tires, because the way that I push is pretty much just memorize lines and do those lines. If I try to do anything else, aka run slower or run smoother or whatever to conserve tires, I generally am not very good at that. So, I mean, I ain't saying I can't adapt, but for now I haven't really adapted yet. And for y'all who watch my live stream, that was apparent, or the first live stream, that was apparent on the very first race. I didn't even know what was going on whatsoever. That was a cringe fest race. That was where the Phantom penalty video came from anyway. But anyway, the next main point is the mechanical damage. That's going to be a good thing in terms of realism again, but a bad thing in terms of racing online with drivers who race dirty with no mechanical damage. So with mechanical damage, in theory, they're going to race cleaner because it's going to hurt their car, but I mean, we'll just have to see, folks. We're just going to have to see. I already did another video about how you can exploit the driver rating system by just wrecking someone in front of you, and you have a higher driver rating because you finish higher even though you've wrecked the person, so really you should be penalized. Now it's doubly. You can wreck that person into a wall, barely damaging your own car because you just barely tap them, but you tap the other person into a wall, so they get double damage for your car and then a wall. So then that's gonna even more make it frustrating for driver rating. So I'll do another video in general saying how I think this might affect me, but I think the general consensus is it adds a lot of realism, but it takes away some of the fun factor and some of the like freedom to race how you want type factor too. I mean, don't ever race dirty, but you can't really race on an edge anymore either, because if you just barely tap a wall instead of just slowing you down a little bit, that kind of sort of ruins your race. So, all in all, it's definitely a step in the right direction in terms of realism, which is obviously what the game's going for. But do people gonna like it in general? To be honest, it's not that big of a deal because it is a beta. The people playing it wanted to play the beta anyway, so if they're gonna throw stuff at people, that would be the best time to do it because whoever is left on the beta is a dedicated Gran Turismo fan. So, it's definitely not a failure. I mean, there's stuff they could tweak out. There's like the phantom penalties and the pretty much if you get hit by another driver, it ruins your race in more ways than it ever has, and it already sort of ruined your race in a lot of ways as is. And then there's just adapting to those two things as well that everybody's gonna have to do. So it's definitely not a bad system, but we'll just have to see how it ends up working out in the future, and that'll definitely be an entertaining thing to see, folks. That's for sure. That's for sure. Yeehaw!